Yo, what's up guys, you're back with TechNick, and today we have another battle between the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro and Realme X2 Pro. But this time it's all about that wonderful gaming performance. We have 60 FPS games as well as 90 FPS games. It's going to be really excited, so stay with me here guys. This is TechNick, and without further ado, let's go. So over here on the left we have a Snapdragon 865 processing chip which is run on 7nm plus technology. On the Realme we have a Snapdragon 855 plus processing chip run on 7nm technology. Both have 90Hz refresh rate panels and both have high performance / game turbo / game space modes. So we're going to be using those throughout the test for the best possible performance. On the right hand side we have the list of games and the different variants of each individual game that we're going to be running. At the top right corner of each screen, at the top we have the Xiaomi, and at the bottom we have the Realme. At the top of each screen we have the frames per second counter. This is a game. Bullet Force is capped at 120 FPS, but for some strange reason the Realme X2 Pro is capped at 60 FPS. I've had the same issue with the Realme X55G. That is a 120Hz panel, but games cannot run more than 60. It is really strange, but at least the Xiaomi are keeping things real over here with its max frame rates. It seems like Realme devices only allow for the frame rate to be used on maybe social media apps or just scrolling through your actual phone, but it doesn't actually change anything when you are gaming. Now we have turned up max settings over here as well when it comes to Dead Trigger 2, and this once again has a 120 FPS limit. We have 90 FPS on the Xiaomi, but once again a cap on the Realme X2 Pro at 60 frames per second. Both of them look absolutely stunning on these AMOLED displays, but I must say when I was playing on the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro, that wonderful 1000 nit brightness AMOLED curved display looked absolutely amazing. It was a breath of fresh air to play on, I must add, pretty much up there with the top dogs such as the Samsung Galaxy S20 and S20 Ultra. Once again, that 60 FPS cap limited the Realme X2 Pro as opposed to the Mi 10 Pro's 90 frames per second in Dead Trigger 2. We're moving on to PUBG Team Deathmatch now. We have smooth over here, but we don't have max frame rate. We don't have the option on the Mi 10 Pro. I don't know if it's not available for the Snapdragon 865 processor yet. If any of you guys are rocking this phone, please let me know if you're having the same issue. I've tried everything possible as well as GL or GFX tools to try and unlock the frame rate, but it seems as if in Team Deathmatch mode, in first person player mode in PUBG, we actually have 60 frames per second on the Xiaomi, even though we're only sitting at high frames per second and not max as we are on the Realme. So we have 60 frames per second on both phones over there playing PUBG Mobile, and we're going to go into smooth over here once again with 60 FPS max. We do have 60 FPS max when we are running on smooth, and what I was speaking about earlier has to do with ultra mode. You'll see in a little bit when we get there, it gets capped at 40. It's really strange, but 60 frames per second on smooth is great. But I mean, obviously if you have a Snapdragon 865 processing chip run on 7nm plus technology on the Mi 10 Pro, you really want to use those juicy graphics paired with the highest possible frame rate, which is 60. PUBG is limited to 60, you cannot get 90. I have tried GFX tools once again to unlock that, and you cannot do that. The Chinese version has it, but I don't have a Chinese ID, so I cannot get to it. Maybe I can sort it out in the next video. So now Team Deathmatch Ultra PUBG, you can see that the Mi 10 Pro is capped at 40 frames per second. We do not have max FPS option when we do jump the graphics up to the highest mode there. With the Realme X2 Pro, we still have max FPS on the highest graphics setting. It's really strange to see. I'm not sure if the Mi 10 Pro is it's too early for PUBG to have maybe changed up for it or support the device at ultra graphics and maximum frames per second. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of that in the comments down below. I think it's super strange. I can assure you I've tried everything possible to try and fix that issue, but there is nothing I can do. I'll have to review the phone in another month or two to see if anything has changed for anyone interested in actually buying the device. So far I have been enjoying the device, but I have had a few issues with the Mi 10 Pro. It might be because it's new, like I said, with games, but at least all the games do support the high refresh rate that do actually have high refresh rates in the game itself. Like I said, PUBG is capped to 60 frames per second, and that's why you're seeing 60 FPS on the Realme. Once again, 20 FPS lower on the Xiaomi. Disappointing there, but it's due to that cap. Now we're going to be going into Call of Duty Team Deathmatch, and we have all settings rocketed up as well as frame rate, but once again we don't have that high frame rate option on the Mi 10 Pro. It must be something with Tencent Games because they make both Battle Royale games, PUBG Mobile and Call of Duty Mobile, and for some reason there is that cap, but when you're playing Team Deathmatch first person player mode, the Xiaomi has no problem getting 60 frames per second. It is completely unlocked even without the max settings, and if you drop the Realme to the same frame settings that you do see on the Xiaomi over here, then you will get capped at 40. So it's really interesting to see that we get a 60 cap when we're playing Team Deathmatch on COD Mobile as well as Call of Duty Mobile, well, as well as PUBG Mobile. But as soon as we jump into zombies over here, for some strange reason, we get that cap again. We have the exact same settings we were running on playing Team Deathmatch in Nuketown, but when we're playing zombie mode over here, we are capped at 40. It is a serious problem, and I really hope it gets resolved soon by Tencent Games. I don't have this issue with any other games that I've tested out, and I have tried absolutely everything, like I said earlier guys, to try and fix this. I've also tried over 20 games to see which games are the best to bring you today, and we don't have that wonderful 90Hz refresh rate panel support on PUBG Mobile and Call of Duty Mobile, but these are very popular, very high graphic demanding games, and I've been enjoying them on both of these devices. Obviously on the X2 Pro slightly more since I've been using the device a lot longer, but we jumping into Call of Duty Battle Royale mode over here. We once again have that 40 FPS cap on the Xiaomi, where the Realme is flaunting it at 60 frames per second in that wonderful chop over there. Now we're going to move on to our next game, which will indeed be Gear.Club. It is pretty much my favorite racer on Android or iOS. You guys should definitely check it out. It has pretty much the most intense graphics, probably the best simulator you get on an Android mobile, very close to Gran Turismo as well as Forza Motorsport for Android devices, and we have 60 frames per second on both devices. The developer said that you can run 120 on this game, but it seems like there's a 60 FPS cap and there is no way to change it in the graphic settings. The last game we have over here is Trials Frontier, my favorite motorcycle puzzle game over here, and it is absolutely epic. Once again, the Realme is capped at 60. This game unlocks at 120, and we have that 90 FPS limit because of the 90Hz refresh rate panel on the Mi 10 Pro. At least we're seeing that 90 over there. It's nice to see when Realme is capping at 60 on all of their games. It is really horrible. So overall, we have an average FPS of 61 frames per second for the Mi 10 Pro and 60 for the X2 Pro. But remember that if we had the Call of Duty and PUBG Mobile unlocked, we'd be hitting 68 FPS average, but of course that would be the same thing with the X2 Pro if we actually had 90 Hz running through all individual games. It just really sucks that Realme are capping all games at 60 frames per second. I'm not sure what's up with that, and until next time, this is TechNick.